To really just go, really blow for blow with an amazing team. First and foremost, got to give the Rams a ton of credit and what they've been building and what they did and what they brought out in us. And that's what we needed. We needed that kind of challenge so that our guys could rise to the occasion, make plays, have a more balanced attack, and be able to play the type of offensive football we know we're capable of. Defensively, the Rams put together some amazing drives, made some incredible plays, some incredible throws and catches. Got more than we wanted in the run game as well. The Rams did, and so a lot of stuff to clean up from that aspect. The big return early on. Just some adversity that our guys had to face today, but the ability to just continue to battle. And I got to say, just Bank of America Stadium, the fans showed up in the weather. It was wet, they were loud, and it was noticeable. The third downs, especially at the end. We can't take those things for granted, and the edge that it gives us on our rushes. Even the last rush that we got, the sack fumble. They're up against the clock. There's a delay of game, and that just gives us a little bit of an edge. To get off the ball, to attack it, and come away with the win.
Coming off of a short week, you guys are missing some really key players on the defensive side of the ball. The way the Rams have been playing, not many people outside this building are giving you guys a chance. Can you just talk about the message in the locker room, not only from you, but from the leaders on this team?
Yeah, really the challenge was for the guys, and Saturday night just saying, we have seen the Rams' best football, and they've been playing amazing. And I said, no one's seen our best yet. And while they still made yards and they still did things, our best football is still out there in front of us, and that's our goal, is to find it. But our guys came together offensively, and really executed today. And starting with the run game, offensive line, just calling those guys out, just Icky and D-Lou and Corbs having an excellent day. Jake Curhan stepping in when we needed him to, and Taylor Moton had to come out for a little bit, and Yosh had a series in there, but he was able to come back and finish. But we can't do it without those guys, because we were able to run the ball like we like to.
What did you see on those plays?
Just matchups and Jalen Coker. Jalen Coker providing that first touchdown, knowing that we like the matchup outside, and he's a guy that's been playing great ball, and we just haven't been able to really just, make him come alive. It was still with 4 catches, so we still like to see him come away with a few more, but that one, and then just being able to run the ball and showing play action for T-Mac's touchdown allowed us to get the one-on-ones, get the box the way we wanted it to, which is the design and the philosophy of what we do. And but it was some of those third down runs that got us into those favorable situations that allowed us to be aggressive.
That question of bouncing back. Your team hasn't lost back-to-back games since the first 2 games of the year. Where does this resilience come from for your group?
It's humility. It's playing games where we're humbled by not having great execution and knowing that we have to get back to our basics, our fundamentals and execution. And this is a humble group. It's the leadership of our team. It's Derek Brown and it's Bryce, and these guys taking one game and saying we can do better than this, and rising to the challenge, making sure that we're being intentional with what we're doing every single day and how critical it is to execute on game day.
You've had a great run with Rico. Chuba obviously tried to play through injury not that long ago.
Yeah.
He looks like he's physically back
Absolutely.
right now. I know you've been trying to run two backs for a while, but injuries have gotten in the way. What does that allow you to do, and did you get to kind of fully realize that out there?
Yeah, it's just fresh. It's fresh legs when they go out there. And, for Rico, it was a huge check down on the last drive. We didn't come away with points on the drive, but putting the ball out there in his hands, whether it's a run or a pass, just get the ball into Rico and Chuba's hands and let them affect the game because of who they are, because of the aggressive style that they play with. And so it's a dream to be able to have two guys that you can count on, and I can call anything that I have on the call sheet and trust that it's going to get executed.
I believe fourth down plays, the touchdowns. I mean, what gives you the confidence? What gave you the confidence in Bryce today in putting his hands in those?
I always feel confident with Bryce in those situations, and the bigger the stakes, the higher the moments. He stays the same in terms of his execution, and it allows me to just call the best thing for that area. But again, it's the balance of the run game, and being able to give us those type of opportunities.
Building off the fourth down theme, I believe the Panthers lead the league in fourth down attempts going forward. I'm sure a lot of that is circumstantial, but is there an overall principle that you believe, hey, it's fourth down, we're going to go for it?
Well, who you're playing matters, and certainly with the Rams and the high-powered offense that they have, it makes me a little bit more aggressive. And Coach George Lee and I have these conversations during the week, talking about our strategy and who we're playing and if it would be good. What's it looking like on the other side? Let's try to steal a series here if we can. And we came out with touchdowns. First downs I would have been thrilled with, but to come away with touchdowns is fantastic. To really capitalize on some of those single high one-on-one matchups, and that's what we've been hoping our guys do is to be able to come away with those opportunities. It's single high, they're man to man. Somebody's got to win, and the guys found great wins for us today.
Did you ever see any difference in Bryce when a game went the way last week's game went? Do you see any difference in him personality-wise through the week?
I do not. No, I see the same type of intentionality. We had great conversations early in the week, and he's like, I'm going through my process, and we have our checkpoints, after Wednesday for the base game plan, Thursdays with the third down, Fridays, and then we wrap up on Saturdays, this is how we're going to win this game, and we have those conversations, and he's executed it, and he continues to lead out there, which I'm really proud of him for.
You mentioned Derek Brown's leadership and helping you get to this point. He had the deflection on the first interception, the strip sack there. Just what have you seen from not just today, but throughout the time you've been here that led to you guys get this kind of moment?
There's a resilience and depth of character with Derek where he's not concerned with what's happening on the other side of the ball. And when the offense might be struggling for a series or two, you're going to get the same Derek Brown regardless. Whatever the score is, we're up, we're down, you're going to get the same Derek Brown, and that's what I love to point to for the whole group. It's like, guys, let's just continue to do our job well. Let's continue to empty the tank every time you're out there on the field, whether it's in practice or the games, and that's what continues to show up for Derek.
I think today was the 10th different starting offensive line combination you've used today, and it just never seems like those guys are a liability. Nothing's perfect necessarily, but what is it about the way you're coaching them, that Joe Gilbert's preparing these guys, that you're running all these different combinations out there, and they're still largely getting the job done?
It's just work ethic. It's Goody and Joe. It's the way that they structure the meetings. They're always talking. When you go out there on the field, whether it's a defensive period, you're going to see the offensive line on the side working on something. They're going to be working on a what-if front, a what-if pressure with our protection plan. It's during special teams. They're just constantly working, constantly talking. It's that type of, camaraderie and communication that it requires to play really good football.
Prior to that strip sack, you all only had one hit on Stafford. It looked like you all played that pretty straight, that third down where Derek got in there. What did you see, and what was the concept there?
Yeah, again, I got to talk about our fan base and the noise, the crowd noise. It matters, and it allows us to just get a jump because we're locked in on the ball. They basically are going off a movement as well, and it just gives us an advantage. And it just felt like we got a jump on that rush, and they protected really well for most of the game. And some of those big shots they had down the field were far beyond the 2.5, 3 seconds that I'm preaching for the offensive side. Stafford was able to kind of evaluate whenever you give him a chance like that, he'll find a completion somewhere. And but they stayed with it, and our mentality is finish. And every single opportunity we get, we're going to get you're going to get everything we have.
Did you see that going into the game? Did you see Hubbard being used as much as you used him, because he hasn't been used nearly that much in a while? So.
Well, absolutely. It's just the way that the game played out. We had more attempts, we had more opportunities, and then it really came down to some third down, some third down conversions, and then also some third down runs. And Chuba's been our primary third down back right now with the protections, but we also run the ball some, and that's a great opportunity to just make sure he gets his touches.
We'll do last question.
How much satisfaction do you get out of the fact you have the saying it's all about the ball, no turnovers, and the preparation for how much wet ball, cold weather? How do you simulate that?
It all starts with the ball, and it's about how we approach it during the week. It's about the habits. We're constantly, our coaching staff, they're constantly on the defensive side talking about the number of attempts that we get at the ball, and offensively, we have to make sure that we're wrapping it up in traffic, and the guys were great about that today.
On Mike Jackson getting into the end zone.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And first career pick 6 for Mike, which was really I was a little bit shocked, but again, I look back, and I was with him for a long time in Seattle, and he had some interceptions. I could never remember him running one back, and but just a great payoff. The fundamentals were right. His feet were in the ground. He broke on the ball perfectly, and then came away with the score. It was awesome.
Speak to the job Ransom and Smith-Wade did stepping into the starting lineup.
Up and down. I thought Shaw Smith-Wade did a really solid job today, whether it was in base or nickel. Lathan was working through some things. There's going to be some stuff to clean up, but he played physical, and that's what we count on from him. He showed up. He showed up making hits in the run game, in the pass game, had a nice sack. So he's a dynamic player. He brings a lot to us, and the challenge for him is to just continue to be connected with the back half. He and Nick Scott, having that communication, and I've just kind of ribbed Nick afterwards. I was like, come on, you got to get your guy going. There was a couple of things that we could have covered down better with in terms of who was where, but generally showed up and made his plays.
You've been asked this, but Bryce, I think it's 11 now, fourth quarter overtime, game-winning drives. What has he been able to do, and what are you seeing from him in those situations?
It's the consistency of play, and the thing that I appreciate the most about Bryce is, regardless of the moment, regardless of the time in the game or the score, when I put the ball in his hands, he stays the same. He stays even. His eyes are in the right place, and then he executes the play and finds his best available receiver. And that's the part that I love just being able to count on with Bryce. All right, thank you.
Hello?
Big win for you guys today. Like I told Coach, not a lot of people outside of this building gave you guys a chance. Just with the short week and then with all the injuries, just talk about the resilience of this team and kind of the message that you guys have conveyed all through this week's practice and holidays. There was just so many distractions, so many things that would have detracted from this game today.
Yeah, I'm so proud of this group. Just like you said, the resilience. For us, we always lean on each other. We always have belief. We always, we know we have what it takes in this building. And, we don't worry about the outside opinions. So for all of us, like you said, short week, holidays, all that, everyone was super locked in all week. This was, there's a lot of focus. Everyone was excited for the moment, excited to go out there and play. And, we were excited just, as Coach says, because it was the next game. We were just excited for the opportunity. I'm so proud of this team, how they pulled it off, the way we won, both sides of the ball, all three phases. This is a great win, so super proud.
What are those conversations like going into fourth downs when you go along to Jalen and T-Mac in those situations?
Yeah, again, I just trust my guys. There's no big conversation, no big hoorah. Again, for me, I'm super grateful to have guys like that on the perimeter that I trust, and need to have his situations, fourth downs. Trust them to win one-on-ones, trust them with 50-50 balls, trust them to throw them open, whatever it may be. We have a ton of competitors. They did a great job of, going getting those balls and, putting themselves in those situations on those fourth downs. So, again, it's not a big speech. I know those guys are always ready.
How do you Continue to have that trust when a game went the way last week's game went?
It never wavers. Again, it's a competitive league. There's going to be ups and downs, but I know my guys. I know how they work. I know who they are. I know the competitors they are. No matter what, I'm always have confidence in them. So that'll never change.
You know, the crowd out there today, it felt like going into the fourth, especially with the Chuba chants and the ovation for the offense. I mean, we looked up in the press box, and it was pretty cool just to look around. Did you feel that on the field?
For sure. That means a ton. For the Carolinas to come and support us, we take a lot of pride in protecting the bank, and for us to get that, it's a huge advantage. It means a lot. It affects the game. So we're super grateful for the fan base. It was definitely felt like normal. So yeah, we're all super grateful for that.
The resilience. You guys haven't lost back-to-back games since the 0-2 start, and Coach Canales said it's the humility of this group that stands out. Where do you see humility on this roster?
Yeah, just our willingness to chase our best, to want to get better. Coach challenged us with that early on in the week and throughout the week, just trying to find our best. Good game, bad game, whatever it may be. We have a bunch of guys that come in and just focus on the work. They want to be better. They want to grow. They want to watch and see how we can, grow as a unit, as a team. So it's all individuals, and it's part of the culture. So, again, I'm super grateful to be a part of that.
Does that reveal itself more on the practice field or in film rooms, you think?
A combination of both. Again, today or this week, weren't able to get a ton of full-speed reps because of a short week, but it reveals itself through without doing that, still the willingness to go on the side, get some extra stuff, still the willingness to have attention to detail, all that stuff. And then film room, same, you have to go in with an open mind, be willing to grow, be willing to learn, watch the stuff that's tough to watch, and everyone does that and takes that challenge. So, yeah, I'm super grateful to be part of this group.
To be able to run the ball the way you did today, I mean, you talk about having trust in your guys. It's been a while since we've seen Chuba and Rico do that. What's that like for you to see that come alive, as Dave says?
Yeah, it's great. For us, we want to be balanced. We have all the confidence in the world, and in the O-line and those guys, and to see them, not do anything that was surprising to me or to anyone in this building, but just be themselves. Go out there, be special, be dynamic. The O-line doing a great job of taking pride. Again, we have a ton of respect for them as a team and as a unit. That's a really good unit out there, a really good front. And for everyone to take that challenge, to step up and, want to find our best, again, that means a lot.
You guys are half game out of the division. Obviously, I know you got several to go, but the bye week's coming up next. I know I'm sure you'd like to play every week, and you focus on one game at a time. But to be 7-6 with that win, and now with a week to get healthy before you have a bunch of divisional games down the stretch, how important is that?
Yeah, it's huge. Obviously, being able to go into this last stretch. We want to take it one game at a time. Stuff we can't control, stuff that we can't look too far ahead. But we know that there's stuff at stake. For us, it's just being consistent with our process. That's the thing about this team. It's never needed motivation. It's never needed incentive to go and chase greatness. So again, for us, we'll have a week to reset, and then we'll come back and we'll take it week to week.
What's that room like today?
It's fun. It's fun after a win. It's tough to win in this league. Again, we have a ton of respect for our opponents and just for this league in general. So you have to celebrate those wins. Those you celebrate the success, and it's great because as we talked about before, it's a group that's naturally humble. It's not guys after a win that now you got to reel them back on Monday or reel them back during the week, and everyone can keep it as it is. Normal week, you have that 24-hour rule where you can enjoy it, and then you come back. I'm pretty sure we're back tomorrow. We'll watch the film. We'll still learn and grow. So you got to celebrate the success.
I asked Dave about this, but I'll ask you too. 10th different offensive line starting combination today for this group. They always just kind of seem to get the job done. Yeah. I know you're focused on your job, but working with a bunch of different guys out there, what do you have to say about those guys continually churning new bodies out there?
Man, couldn't be more proud, more grateful for that unit. Just the resilience they show. Like you said, so much change, so much in and out, so much uncertainty week to week just with how much movement there's been. And like you said, there hasn't been drop-off. Every week they've stepped up to the plate. Again, we played some really good units. This is a really good unit we just played, and for them to play as they did, the cohesiveness they have, it speaks to the culture they have in that room, the coaching. So I'm super proud, super grateful for that unit.
Anything else?
I appreciate you guys.